Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing good. Today is whatever today is. What is today? Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Today is October 21st, Wednesday. Wealth Wednesday. Morning, bro. Good morning, man. Can't wait till you're on the show, man. We got to do something cool. Do something soon. So good morning, bro. Today is Wealth Wednesday. With Nate Edwards will be joining us real quickly. He's just in the backside here. So gonna go over the use real quick, and then we're gonna get right into it. So October 21st, 2020. Here's today's quote. Falling down is an accident. Staying down is a choice. There you guys go. You stay down when shit gets bad. That's on you, man. Like I said on my Monday thing, nobody's going to change you except you. All right, it's plain and simple. Morning, bro. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning. All right, you guys, don't forget to check out IOPPS.ca for your daily jobs. And my nephew, Eston's Crazy Corner on Facebook for your popcorn. And we're buying an awesome caramelizer machine. Ooh, that popcorn is going to be deadly now. And don't forget to check out Canine Action Project on Facebook. Also, Save the Res Dogs on Facebook, Instagram, and SaveTheResDogs.com. And don't forget our weekly draw. 5 communities are being helped by this draw. Check. Chase the Ace 36 draws on Facebook every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. All right, you guys, we're going to get right to it here. I'm going to introduce Nate Edwards. Welcome, Nate. Hello. Oh, your mic's off. Oh, there we go. Your mic was off. Welcome back to the show, man. Welcome back.
I was getting real good at that, remembering to mute myself. I just got to remember to unmute it now.
Yeah. So you guys know that Nate works with IG. What does IG stand? Investment Group?
It used to be Investors Group, but the name has just changed to IG Wealth. If you look around, like almost all the banks have shortened. It's kind of an industry standard now.
Oh, I forgot something. Sorry, I got to do the fun fact of the day. Man, see, I know I always forget one of these things. So the fun fact of the day, guys, real quick, is there were 2, and this is kind of creepy. There were 2 AI chatbots created by Facebook to talk to each other, but they were shut down after they started communicating in a language they made for themselves. That is freaky.
I actually read that article a while ago, and I immediately got a chill for sure as I was reading it.
That is scary shit, man. So that's like Terminator, all that stuff, man. That's where.
Yeah, they created their own shorthand, basically.
So really?
They were trying to be efficient, and they just kept making new words that only they understood. And honestly, it probably was harmless, but I think that the people that ran it probably felt the same way we did. And they were just creeped out, so they shut it down.
Wow, you never know it's machines, man, talking at thinking at an unreal pace. Anyway, we don't want to scare you guys this morning. That's just a crazy fun fact. They shut it down, so relax. Yeah. Anyway, it's Wealth Wednesday today, you guys. We're gonna talk about money, finance, all that stuff. That's what Nate is specialty. And we're gonna get right into it. When I brought him on last week, we were talking about credit, and I think we're gonna focus on that a little bit because credit is something I like to use myself as an example because at such a late stage in my life, I just started to care about my credit, which I don't want people to do. I want people to start caring about the credit shit right when they're in high school. I know no one from high school watches this, but if you got high school kids and you want to pass this on to them, if you weren't too good with your credit and you don't know much about credit, man, stay tuned for these shows because Nate's going to start teaching us a few things of how to build that money in your bank without living check to check. Hopefully, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, Go ahead, Nate.
There's a few things. I mean, so for young people, the big one to me is don't be afraid to use credit at a young age or make sure you have some bills because there's kind of two kinds of people, right? There's people that get bad credit from not using credit wisely, but there's also people that get no credit from never using it. Like
So
I've heard tons of stories.
I got a question. I seen a post on Facebook, and Facebook is real when everything is posted. And I'm kidding like that, everyone. But I hope did I spell Wednesdays right? Wednesdays.
Yep.
That's one word I always have trouble spelling.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So is it true if you good morning, Kimberly. Is it true if a parent signs their child, because I was thinking about this once I heard it. If you sign up your child's credit card, you co-sign on their name or something, and you let them use it, and you just don't let them spend it, but you pay off the interest or something like that, or something like that. You just let them use it very little, and by the time they're 18, they'll have a perfect credit score.
So I don't deal with credit directly. Like I deal with them do credit cards or anything, right? But I'm pretty sure you need to be 18 to get one. But my advice would be to get a prepaid one, which is kind of what you're talking about. So the way they work is you go into the bank, you have to give them $500, and then they give you a credit card worth 500 with a $500 limit. So if you're looking to help like a younger kid build credit, that's what I would do is just front that $500 or whatever it is, then let them have the credit card and just make sure it gets paid off. Like make sure they're using it and then paying it off, and that's the best way to build credit at a young age. The other thing is like cell phone bills and stuff like that, because I mean, every 18-year-old has a cell phone these days. Even if you're the one paying for it, put the bill in the kid's name.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Put them on their own account, because then it goes on their credit score instead of yours.
Yeah.
So because a lot of people will still be paying for their kids, especially kids in university or just starting out working, right? Like you're still paying for some of those bills. Everything should be in their own name, and that way, as long as no payments get missed, it's going to be positive on their credit instead of them not building any.
I never thought of that, man. That actually makes 100% sense, because everyone always wants to, have their, if you can afford it, you want your kid to have a phone, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, these days it's almost a necessity now, which is funny.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like, you can't go out without them.
Whenever I discuss that, I always find it funny that like when I was a kid, it was nobody had a cell phone, obviously, right?
No.
And we used to go leave the house, walk, and I lived in the Lower Mainland in BC, like in the city. And now to think that a parent like letting their kid leave the house without a cell phone would be like terrifying to a parent.
Right? The helicopter parent, man. You need your phone. You need your phone. You're going to die if you don't have it.
I need to be able to call you.
Right. Yeah. So credit building, like that's like, we want to get into your specialty, obviously. So I just want to go over real quick. I want to show you guys Credit Karma. Because when we did the show, this was huge. Everyone just was inboxing me about checking their thing. So here's Credit Karma. Credit with a K. No, sorry, credit and then karma, obviously how it spells, karma.ca. It's free. Like Nate was saying, it's free. Go ahead and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, I suggest this to a lot of clients. It's great. It's free. The other thing to remember is that, like, say you're trying to get a loan and you go to like 6 banks trying to get the best interest rate. If each of them checks your credit, that will negatively affect your credit. So the nice thing about Credit Karma is it's what's called a soft touch or a no touch. It means you can check it as often as you want, and it never affects your credit score when you check it. So you almost want to do it yourself before you go into a bank or anything, so you know what your credit score is, and you don't have them checking your credit all the time. But like even beyond just being able to see your credit score, which is great, it also will show you like absolutely every loan you've like ever had, and if it's still open or closed, or if there's like still a small balance on one that's just been sitting there. Because it's very, very common for people to kind of have some sort of random credit card or bill from like 10 years ago that they thought was completely paid off, and it's like $3 owing on it. but it's still like sitting there. And sometimes they will report on that eventually, and it will affect your credit.
Yeah, I had an old cell bill from 2000. When shit did cell start kicking in? 2005. I had an old bill, and I just forgot about it, and it was hurting my credit. And it was only like $100.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other thing, like the mortgage broker I use talks about this a lot, is that she's had a few clients that get a credit card, activate it, but never use it.
Mm-hmm.
So they just assume that it's fine. But because there's a fee on the card, they charge you that $20 fee or whatever. But because they've
Mm-hmm.
never used it, they never even look at the balance, and that sits there and sits there and sits
Oh
there,
yeah,
and that then they start to report on that. The other thing to
yeah.
remember too is like I don't know, like so when you miss a bill, don't assume that your credit has just been like blown to crap either, because
I was just gonna say that. Sorry, my credit card, like fuck, I mean, beating that thing up hard, man. Like, and I missed a payment, and I was thinking, shit, my credit's gonna go down.
no, they don't report normally. That's the thing. Like, so the way it works is when you don't make a payment, and then the company can basically do whatever they want, which is kind of the scary thing. So it just depends on the company, and like sometimes it depends on your relationship with them. So they'll probably cut you some slack if you haven't been missing a lot of payments. But sometimes you can miss a bill and it can go 2 months even. You forget about it. Then they call you and they're like, hey, you haven't paid this bill. And you go, oh, sorry. And you pay it. It
Yep.
doesn't even show up on your credit report at all.
Huh. I always thought credit card companies were just all over that. As soon as you missed, man, they're like, right now.
No, they're pretty good. You got to be pretty irresponsible to not like you got to purposely miss the phone calls and say
Oh,
you're going to pay it. That's one thing you should never do. If you say like if they call you because you missed and
yeah.
you say you're going to make a payment, because they'll ask you very specifically. They'll say, "Okay, so you're going to make this much of a payment on this day," and you say yes, and then you don't do it. Then they're very likely going to report your credit.
So there you guys go. Don't lie to the credit card companies if you guys own a credit card and you haven't paid. Even
You're
pay
much
the
better off
bare
telling the
minimum, right?
truth.
What's
Well,
that?
I mean, even if you tell them that you can't afford to make the payment for a few weeks or whatever,
Yeah.
they'll normally not report.
Because
Yeah.
in especially in today's day and age, like right now where we're at, they're probably more than likely understandable. Like shit's going south right now. Give me a few weeks to figure this shit out. And the bare minimum is all you have to pay. You just got to pay
Yep.
that. On my app, I use a Capital One because I'm building my credit still. And you guys, if you want to get a guaranteed credit card, I mean guaranteed, it don't matter how shit your credit is, Capital One will guarantee you a credit card. My first when I got it, man, I $500. Oh, and here's a little story. I'm sorry, man. I got a Capital card or Capital One credit card to build my credit. Man, that's hard to see. And started off with $500 for like 6 years. I didn't know why my credit wasn't going up because I'd spend 500, pay 500, pay 500, pay. That's not how you build your credit. I finally learned later on. You spend. The best way to build your credit fast, if you have nothing else owing and you're using a credit card to build it, is spend like up to a quarter of what your value of your credit card is and pay it off.
There's
A
also
half to
some
a
weird
quarter.
tricks. There's some weird tricks. Like you almost want to carry a small balance sometimes. Like if
Really?
yeah, man, credit is such a bizarre thing. Like when you start to get into like the intricate rules of like what actually makes your credit better, there are some strange rules that if you're carrying a small balance,
Yeah.
I mean, credit companies like that. They like to make money off the interest, right? But
So they'll
you're
bump
not.
up your credit if you keep owing them just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. It, it's
Wow.
it's very strange, man. And different companies are different too. So, and there's also two different credit bureaus. Like, there's Equifax and TransUnion. So, Credit Karma only checks one of those. I think it's TransUnion. And the other thing to remember is like credit bureaus are for-profit businesses. They're
Yeah.
not they're not government run. So even they're kind of weird. Like they're not. There's no steadfast rules really.
Huh. Because it's funny because you never hear anyone explaining exactly how credit works. They explain the basics, pay your stuff on time and that. But then now you're just telling us that it's okay to own a little balance because they'll like that because you're owing them money on the interest, I guess, right?
And
So they
and I've
pat
never
you on
had
the
that.
back and
I've never had that confirmed to me, but I have had it told to me by a few people that it is actually better to carry a small balance. But the other
huh.
thing to remember is, so you were just talking about like Capital One credit cards and how they'll basically give anybody a credit card. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people get scared off because when you're getting that, when your credit is not good, and you go to get that card, the interest rate will be very, 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 very high. Don't even
No,
sweat
no,
that.
that's a lie because well, I don't know. It didn't happen to me. My credit was like at 500, like low, man, like really low. And they only gave me 20% interest, which is still
Yeah,
high, but
yeah. Okay, but people. What I was going to say is people get scared off by that. They think 20%
oh,
interest
okay.
is a lot, but those interest numbers are per annual. Like they're broken up over the year, so it's not like if you owe 100, it's not going to be 120 next month.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh
as
yeah.
bad as it sounds. And the other thing to remember is that if you pay it off in the same month, you don't get charged any interest anyways.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that I didn't know. Like I thought that, you if I spent $500 no matter what, that 20% was going to be tacked onto it.
Only if you pull cash off the card.
Yeah.
If you use it to take cash out, they hammer you right away.
Yeah. So there you guys go. If you get a credit card, and I do suggest get one. Even if you're shitty with money, get one because it teaches you to start paying your bills, man. And that goes back to this credit karma thing. Go check out your like I was scared shitless to go on to I went on to TransUnion. And it's a scary thing to check your credit, man. Like I don't know why, man. My heart was racing. I was like, man, there's gonna be like 100,000 or something. I was just thinking stupid numbers, right? Checked on it. I owed $1,500, and they were from one was from that old phone bill, but the other ones were from like party tickets and speeding tickets from back in the day that I just didn't care about. They all went to my credit. So and then here's the thing, there was other fines on there and stuff I owed, but I didn't have to pay right then because it's not affecting my credit. So I only took care of the ones, and this is bad. I'm paying off the other ones, but I only took care of the ones that were affecting my credit. So I paid that off, and then my credit just jumped like 50 points just for paying that all off. So don't be scared to check out your credit because at least you know what you owe, and then just start paying it off, man.
Yeah, even I don't like checking my credit, man. I don't think anybody does. Like, and I can be absent-minded like anybody else. So there are times where it's like I get a phone call from the bank. It's like, oh, you forgot to make a payment on your line of credit. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that this week.
Yeah.
And every time in the back of your head, you're like, oh, I've done that a couple times this year. I hope they didn't ding my credits. So then you like, and I know my credit is decent. So, but
Yeah.
when I open that app, there's always like a second of like, oh, like I almost don't want to look. So I can only imagine like if I had had that app back when I was really bad with money and everything when I was young, when I was in my 20s. There's no
Yeah.
way I would have looked at it. There's no way I would have opened it up. But that is what people need to do. They just need to start, even if you're just checking it every once in a while, just keeping an eye on it.
And even banks now on your apps, you can check your own credit now. They have your credit check right there. And I don't know
Yeah,
who they go off of. Like he
every
was
one of
saying,
them do.
there's two of them, TransUnion and Equifax, which
Yeah.
is the kind of like the one everyone knows is Equifax. If you do know about credit,
Yeah, what's funny is the one maybe because I've been using Credit Karma for a long time, but I always hear TransUnion, but that's because that's the one that app uses.
yeah. So there you guys. Don't be. And I'm basing everything on my life because like we're not taught like my age, and I think everybody still, no matter what, is not taught about credit. You're kind of just basing it on your parents, and and then our world, we never, a lot of our people grow up in poverty, right? So we don't know about credit. The select few start learning about credit, and good with their money. Whereas, we weren't taught the credit thing, save money, all this stuff. So Now is the time, you guys. Now is the time. It's getting easier and easier for everybody to check your credit and start building that score. Because if you want to move off the reds, if that's your goal in life, you know, and you don't want to rent, but you know that's kind of what you think is only there for you. It's not. Go to Credit Karma, check your credit, visit a guy, Nate here, email him. Oh, I better move that thing, that banner. His email is right there. He'll help you build wealth.
Yeah, the thing too, I think, like just to switch gears a little bit, is people ask like, well, how do I start? How do I start saving? You know, how like so people, if we're discussing people that are building credit, wanting to buy a house, people are always asking like, how do I even go about starting to build up? They feel like it's such a big task, and the answer is like little by little. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I don't deal with a lot of clients starting out at zero, but there are pretty easy ways to do it at your bank with me. Well, simple is not bad. Uh, you just gotta set it up to be automatic. Put 100 or 200 bucks in an account every month. Make sure it's invested. Make sure that is one thing that I can't stress enough. Trying to save money, and if you're trying to save money for a house, make sure it's in an RSP. Make sure it's not just sitting in an RSP account. Make sure it's invested in a mutual fund or in something.
See, and that's later on what we're going to start getting into later on in the coming weeks. Nate, I was actually going to say that, like, let's get into mutual funds because I don't know anything about mutual funds. I don't know anything about RSPs or RS. Is it RSVP? No, that's
No,
not.
not VP, but you can say RSP or RRSP. They're the same.
RSP. Yeah. So we're gonna get into those, and then now I know, and I'm just going off like you know when you're leaving res and you want to just explore the world what is out there. We never hear about this shit. We never hear about mutual funds. We never hear about RSP. We never hear about investing our money into stocks or anything like that. We don't listen. We don't hear about that. And I know, you know, when we get out there, it's hard. But I mean, if you're even putting away just a tiny, tiny bit, and I haven't yet, but I'm gonna start just because I'm learning as you guys learn right now. So I think that's what the importance of this show is going to be, Wealth Wednesdays. And Nate hopefully will be on here for every Wednesday teaching us, and then you guys can maybe possibly be his client because you know he's the master, I guess. He's gonna help us along the way to save money.
I don't think anybody's quite the master, but nobody my age for sure. The other thing is like I have a number of
He says all you know is just
yeah. Another important part is like so I have a number of indigenous clients from the Dakota Dunes.
Yeah.
That had a lot of pensions and stuff that we've moved around after they've left working at the casino or working at the golf course and stuff like that. And there's a lot of other rules that are important for people, especially people that are working. Like if they're legally on a res or it's on one of those kind of strange indigenous lands inside the city. Like there's a couple gas stations in Saskatoon that are
so those are called
urban res.
No, those are they're reserves. They got treaty status.
Yeah. So there's even a few people working on those. And there's some important.
It's just the same as a reserve. It's just the same as a reserve, like wherever a reserve is in Saskatchewan or Canada.
Legally, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some important things there too to keep an eye on. If you're not paying tax, you got to make sure you are paying into CBP. And if you're not paying into, like, I guess I should explain Canada Pension Plan, because a lot of times if you're not paying tax, if you're working in a tax-free area, then you're also not putting into your CPP, and that's going to take away your safety net for retirement.
Really?
Yeah. Do you kind of know what CPP is?
Well, Canadian
Pension Plan.
Yeah. Isn't that just something automatic everyone gets when you hit 65?
No, that's OAS. Number?
That's what?
OAS, Old Age Security.
Huh. I thought that was the same thing. See, there you guys go, man. I don't know. I'm learning as we go here. Like, this is stuff I didn't even know. And I work tax-free right now.
Yeah. So OAS is Old Age Security. If you lived in Canada when you were 18, you'll get full OAS. So right now that
Yeah.
works out to 500 or $600 a month.
Yeah.
CPP you pay into. So when you work, they take it off your check up to a certain amount. Everybody
Yeah.
pays. I want to say it's about $1,000 a year into it. And the rate of return is terrible. Like it's not the best thing you could do with your money. Like if you have other options, there are better ways to do it. But the nice thing about CPP is you don't think about it; just comes straight off your check. And then when you turn anywhere between 60 and 70, you can start taking it out.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how much you put in, they'll give you X amount back monthly after you start taking it. If you start taking it at 60, they give you 36% less than the maximum. If you take it
Yeah.
at 65, they give you what's considered the maximum. And then
Oh,
you can actually postpone it if you don't need it right away. And they'll actually give you more for every year you postpone it.
they just basically want you to take it out before you're dead, by the sounds of it.
Well, the funny thing is, it sounds like a bad deal to take it out at 60, but when you do the math, it's actually not that bad because you're getting payments for those 5 years.
Yeah.
So that actually adds up to quite a bit, even though you're getting less monthly.
Huh. But you would suggest, by the sounds of the way you're talking about it, you kind of don't. You think everyone should invest if they're getting money taken out for CPP anyway.
Yes,
Invest in something different.
CPP is a safety net. So if you go your
So
whole life
CPP, but invest something instead if you got a choice.
and if you don't, yeah, I mean, so people that are working tax free, they actually have an advantage as long as they go out of their way to start saving. Because CPP, you put a lot of money into it and you don't get a lot of money back. Like maybe I'll make up a sheet and I'll bring it
Yeah,
on one day.
start. We can do
Uh,
Google Slides, and then we can put it where me and you'll be on the side, and we can show a big form. So if you're good at Google Slides, do that.
I'm good at PowerPoint. I don't know how to use Google Slides.
It's all the same. Google PowerPoint,
I
Google
probably could
or
just
Microsoft.
slide.
Yeah.
I probably could just drag and drop it into Google. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you do the math, like if you took the money that your average person puts in CPP and invested it elsewhere, you'd
Yeah.
have astronomically more money than you would get from CPP. But
Wow.
people that never have extra money to save and they go their whole life, they at least have CPP. It's a nice safety net.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people nowadays live check to check, man. It is what it is. Like shit's just rising. So I think honestly, that's where we should focus. If you're leaving check to check, what is the bare minimum you should put on for CPP? If you are living tax free, you're working tax free. If you're working on the reserve, what's the bare minimum you can put on there to have this X amount of money when you're this age, right? Like that's what I think we should focus on, because I'm going to start investing now, even if it's 20, $30 a month, whatever I can, because I don't even know if I invest in CPP. We probably do. My auntie's pretty good with numbers. She's the one who does our finance things. But yeah, man, like I want to start investing now because I didn't know that.
And
No
it's
clue.
just something to check for people that do work tax free. You want to make sure you're either putting into it, and then if you find out that you're not putting into it, my advice is just make sure you're putting some sort of money away. It doesn't have to be a lot. Compound interest is pretty incredible. Like
What's the bare minimum?
there is no bare minimum, and
No,
it
would
depends
you
on a lot of
suggest?
like. I mean, if you're putting away $50 a month and you're pretty young, you're in your 20s, that's going to add up to some money by the time you retire.
Yeah, that is.
Something, right? You just want to have options. And the
Yeah.
thing with investing is there's a few things in life: insurance, investing, and probably you could throw credit in there too. There's literally no better time to start doing those things than right now. Insurance will never be as cheap as it is right now. Older you get, the more expensive it gets. Investing, even if you're only putting a little bit away right now. Oh, actually, there is a slide that I'm going to bring next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
is there?
yeah. The compound interest, man. The earlier you start putting money away, the better off you are. You can
Yeah.
put
Do,
less
do you do
money
you have
away.
share screen option on there?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Let's see how it
yeah.
looks real quick.
Similar to MS Teams.
Yeah.
Screen sharing is easiest with two monitors. It's trying to tell me how to do it now. Screen
Oh
sharing
yeah.
works best on a good computer. Oh. Sometimes I share audio. Okay, don't show tips again. Yeah, okay. So there you can see my other screen. That's my other monitor.
What do I got to bring it on?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
Oh,
there you
there we
go.
go.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I don't even need to use. I can just use PowerPoint or whatever right here.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna get that next week. Like I said, we're kind of concentrating on credit building right now. We just found out about CPP and how if you're working on a reserve that you might not even be paying into it, but it's a safety net and you can pay bare minimum with it. And if you don't want to pay into CPP, Nate here is going to show us where else you could put it into.
Yeah,
Right?
and the other thing is if you're working tax free, man, just in case I forget, don't put money in RSPs.
Don't what?
Don't put money in RSPs if you're working tax
Ooh,
free.
there's a twister.
We can talk about that next
Oh,
week too.
because we don't get taxed, and that's what it's for, right?
Yeah, so you don't get the tax break, and then you're still gonna have to pay tax on it when you pull it out.
Really?
Yeah.
There's your guys' tip of the day. If you're working tax free, if you're one of the lucky ones that got a job on the reserve somewhere and you're working tax free, don't put money into RSPs because they do tell you to do that, and if you do, it gets taxed.
Oh no, if anybody's
So
being told to do that, definitely email me. There's
that,
much
that's what
there's
that's what
there's
people
much
are
better
saying. Like,
options.
yeah, so there you go. Nate's gonna get into all this, and this is why I like Wealth Wednesdays, man. We're learning about money, we're learning about credit, all this stuff. And then if we guys have any questions after the show, there's Nate's email, nate.edwards@ig.ca. And remember, tell him you seen him on the show here, and yeah, we'll get to that. But I'm excited for next week. I know I always say use your time valuably, and look forward to every single day. But I'm getting excited about these Wealth Wendy's. The show is already up, man. 30 minutes does not go too long. Maybe I'll have
No.
to. It goes fast, eh?
Yeah.
Excellent show, guys. Always excellent to learn about finances. Can we learn about budgeting? And at some point, something we can all learn about. Yes.
Yeah. I have some
Yes.
good budgeting tips, and actually I have some Excel sheets and stuff that I can share that are pretty handy.
Morning. Yes. So that's what I mean. Everyone's liking the shows in the morning, whatever I got going on. But I think one of the popular ones is going to be this one, Wealth Wednesdays, because we're learning about, like I said, man, when you're coming off the res, you don't pay rent and stuff. You pay bills and stuff, but you don't pay rent. And then going into the city or wherever you go, it's kind of a shock to the system because I remember leaving the reserve when I was younger to go to school and stuff, and all of a sudden I'm paying rent, and I'm just like, what the hell? And I'm on a student's, salary, and yeah, shit, you're poor. But I mean, I think even as a student, we should learn to put money away if we can. But even if like I said, if you're working on a reserve, tax free, and living in town, let's start investing our money in this, smart way, right? Anything else you want to close out on?
No, all we did there was open up about 8 more things to talk about. So
Yeah.
if I start digging into anything else, we're going to be on here for hours.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we got till, I don't know. I was thinking of when I'm gonna have to shut this show down for the season, but that's not gonna be till April or May, I think. I don't know. So we got a few shows. And Nate, I hope you enjoy coming on here. It's obviously in the comments, people are really liking the information you're giving, and we've only just literally just started. This is the second show work, so we're gonna dive into stuff, right? We're gonna dive in, and more information is gonna be given, and hopefully by the end of the season, I'm gonna know what to do with a little bit of, I'm still check to check, man. Who am I kidding? But I know I can afford at least 20 to 30 to 40 bucks a month to invest, which I should be doing.
Yeah, and that's the big tip, man. Is make it automatic, make it so you don't have to think about it,
Yeah.
and get advice. Like so, one final thing: if you're putting money into mutual funds, you are paying a fee. You are, like, no matter what, you are. So make sure you're paying that fee to somewhere who's actually going to give you some advice and help you out. Because if you're just dealing at the bank and they're not helping you and they're not like telling you if you should be using an RSP or TFSA, and then you're paying that fee for nothing. So just make sure you're getting advice with your money you're paying.
I think what we need to do is explain what RSPs are, and then what's the other one you said?
TFSAs,
See,
tax-free savings account.
No freaking clue what that means, man. So I think that's what we'll get into all these shows, and everyone's gonna start learning all this stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited, and it doesn't matter what age you are. It's never too late to start.
No, definitely not.
Right?
And if you're older, it's not too late to start, but it's definitely more important you start right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it, you guys. We're going over our limit here. I want to thank Nate again for coming out. You'll see him next week, Wealth Wednesdays. And you guys tune in tomorrow because I got a special guest here that connected with me on Facebook. They're going to talk about relationships. They have a podcast and they're going to talk about relationships. That's what their podcast is about. So if you want to learn about relationships and maybe how to improve it tomorrow, you're not getting advice from me. Trust me, I'm the bad guy to do that. You're going to get it from this couple. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you again, Nate. We'll see you guys tomorrow.